In the 1600s, being a servant in a Japanese tea house was a prestigious job with high pay, great benefits and interesting work, but it also came with some pretty serious downsides. So let's explore what it was really like to be a servant in a Japanese tea house in the 1600s. It's no secret that Japan in the 1600s was an absolute wild ride. The country had just closed its doors to the outside world and was ruled by a military dictator. But despite all that, the 1600s was a golden age for Japan, and the booming economy created plenty of opportunity for those who were willing to work hard, including servants. The best place to be a servant was in a tea house, which was considered to be the most prestigious type of domestic service. Tea houses were typically owned by wealthy merchants or members of the samurai class, and they employed servants to serve tea and entertain guests, because tea houses were so closely associated with the upper classes. Serving in a tea house was considered to be a great honor, and it came with some pretty sweet perks. For one, tea house servants were generally better paid than other servants, and they often received extra bonuses for good performance. In addition, tea house servants were usually given better food and more comfortable accommodations than other servants. And finally, tea house servants had the opportunity to interact with the most interesting customers, since tea houses were a popular spot for merchants and samurai to relax and socialize. Servants had the chance to meet and chat with some of the most important people in Japan. To become a servant in a Japanese tea house, you didn't need any special skills or training. It was a job that was open to anyone who was willing to work hard and learn the trade. Most servants started out by working as apprentices, and they learned the ropes from experienced servants. There was a lot to learn. Servants had to be knowledgeable about tea, and they had to be able to prepare it properly. They also had to be well versed in Japanese culture, and they had to be able to entertain guests. Despite all that, most servants were able to learn the job quickly, and they were able to get along with the demands of their employers. Japanese culture places a high value on politeness and respect, and that's especially true when it comes to serving tea. The way that a servant prepares and serves tea is a reflection on the host, and that means that servants have to be extremely careful and precise. A single mistake can ruin the entire ceremony and bring shame upon the house. That's why it's so important for servants to be well trained. But being a servant in a tea house wasn't all fun and games. There were definitely some downsides to the job. For one, servants had to deal with all sorts of different Some customers could be rude or demanding, and some could be violent or drunk. In addition, servants had to deal with the pressure of providing perfect service. As we mentioned before, a single mistake could ruin the entire tea ceremony. And finally, servants in tea houses often worked long and irregular hours. There was no such thing as a sick day or vacation time, and servants were expected to work until they were too old to do the job well. Despite all the downsides, though, most servants were proud to work in tea houses. It was a job with high prestige, and it came with good pay and great experience. If you ask me, that sounds like a pretty sweet gig. As you probably noticed, this video was made as a general overview of what it was like to be a servant in a Japanese tea house in the 1600s. We barely scratched the surface here, and there's a lot more to talk about. If you guys would like to see more videos on this topic, let us know by liking this video and leaving a comment below. And if you liked this video, please consider subscribing because it really helps us out a lot. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.